The video you're about to watch started off as a video about the Stagecoach passengers who'd left their names carved in the rocks at Black Canyon. However, I became intrigued by this one carving of a person named A. Tillman. And then I discovered that there were more carvings. Short Fuse, uh, who published his books, Mysteries of the Mojaves, stated that there were actually 4 carvings from this gentleman. I'm assuming it was a gentleman. Uh, A. Tillman is his name. Now, Mr. Tillman left his mark or his carvings of his name in what I understand is 4 locations. The first being Black Canyon, the second at the stage station where there's a well, and the third being between the Indian Caves and Inscription Canyon. Now, the fourth, it seems to be unknown. No one knows exactly where it's at. But the fourth one is the one that would determine, or at least help us determine, who A. Tillman was. You see, some of the old timers say that A. Tillman was a teamster out of Panamint Valley with the silver mines, and he hauled freight and silver up through the Black Canyon area. Other people say that no, he was from a passenger on the stage line from San Francisco, a businessman. And there's still others say no, he worked for the stage line or the Stagecoach company. Now, this route has both freight wagons, was probably made by the silver mines, the road itself, and both stagecoach lines all traveled this. So I hope you enjoy the video. I have one more thing to add at the end, so stick around to the end. If you get bored, just stick around to the end or fast forward, all right? Let's go. Good morning. I hope to find the Stagecoach station as well as the well in Black Canyon. A stagecoach used to go from there, from San Francisco to LA and San Francisco to San Bernardino. And there's a whole host of names carved in the rocks from the passengers, which I'll show you. Now here we have someone in Clark, and looks like, goodness gracious, I don't really know, 18 something, but whoever it was, someone pecked over it. We always like to leave our mark behind. Here we find one of the first of the 4 A. Tillman rock carvings. Now, the truth of the matter is, we don't really know who A. Tillman is. Some of the old timers have suggested that he was one of the teamsters that brought the silver from the mines up in Panamint Valley up there. However, we see this here, SF, which is abbreviation probably for San Francisco, because we've hoped to find another of his carvings that says he's from San Francisco, as well as the additional letter of J, so it's J and A. Tillman, San Francisco. So we hope to find that. I do want you to notice, though, that the year that this was carved is in July of 1874. I want to tell you a story about how this road was made by the miners in Panamint Valley who brought their silver here. This was a direct path to where they wanted to go. However, this place was so dangerous and so full of bad guys and outlaws and robbers that they were constantly getting robbed. Even Wells Fargo refused to use this road. So the owners of the mines came up with a different plan. They filled these half-dome vats full of the silver, and they would transport this silver, these half-dome sizes of silver, in 500-pound, whatever they call it, and these half vats would be weighing 500 pounds. So that way, the bad guys couldn't haul off the silver on their horses. And that helped curtail all these robberies that were taking place. And here is the old stage station. Now, amazingly enough, one of the mysteries about this location is the lack of water. Now, horses need a lot of water, and so will the passengers. But nonetheless, this is the old stage station. How cool is that? Now, it is also thought that this is actually a gravesite. Now, whether it is or not, the only way you're going to know is dig it up, which we are not. Now, after it was abandoned as a way station for the stage line, it served as a dwelling for prospectors in the area. Now, this is the second, and the one with the most information. I'll try and see if I can get it. J and A Tillman, September 30th, 1874. San Francisco, and what looks to be Cali, C-A-L-A, probably an abbreviation for California. Now, once again, this is not too far from the road, but this is number 2, and the one with the most information. You can see the road down there. So, and this one happens to be located at the second Stagecoach stop, the one that had the well. The first one ran out of water, the spring dried up, and so the stage station was moved over to here. Now, I'll get you some footage of that here in just a minute, but this is number 2 with all the information. How cool is that? And this is the second stage station. Mr. Tillman left his engraving up there. This is the well, because the spring at the old stage station had run dry. Still pretty deep, and it goes a little farther out that way, so I don't know if you dug a hole if there'd be more or not, but I certainly would not want to have been the one to dig the hole. And it looks to me like there's a metal pipe there. So this is the well for the stage station, and it, at one time, the reason probably the pipe is there, at one time there was a windmill here, but it has fallen apart and been removed. This would be the station. I don't know if this is the station or the place that put the water. If this was the stage station, it was pretty narrow. How cool is this? I think water, I see a drain pipe there. Now, how cool is this? I mean, whoever this guy was, he certainly left his mark, and a whole lot of us have been wondering who he is and talking about him and looking for his engravings, and there are 4 known ones, I'm told. We've got 3 we can find, I believe, and we have a 3rd one to go to next. But how cool is this? Whoever you are, Mr. A. Tillman, and in this case J and A. Tillman, I thank you for leaving your engravings. It gave us another mystery to come out here and explore in the Mojave Desert. So now we're approaching the 3rd of 4 engravings, and here we have it, the 3rd engraving of A. Tillman. we got to ask ourselves, who was this guy? I mean, the road from Panamint City out there in Death Valley where the silver mines were those wagons hauling that ore and bringing back supplies would pass through here, as well as stagecoach passengers. So as we look at the evidence that we can find, we find there is not a lot of evidence for who he actually is. But he did have a penchant for leaving his name in places. Now, there are those who speculate that he was a teamster who drove wagons carrying the ore, going down through Black Canyon down to the harbor in LA. It really is not important, you know, who he is or what he did, in one sense. We know that he passed through here. We don't know what he looked like. Now, one of the theories, besides a teamster, is that he was a stagecoach driver or a stagecoach hand. Another is there was a military party made up also of civilians who came through this area with the intent to map the geography. And there was a Tillman in the party, but his name doesn't match up with the letter A. Now, besides the fact that all three have his name in common, Mr. A. Tillman, or A. Tillman, his or her name, another thing they have in common is this: they're all very close to the road. None are very far from where the stagecoach would pass by. You can see this one here. Look where the road is. So whoever he or she was, they did not travel very far from the road in order to make their engravings. The fourth rock carving of A. Tillman, if there is one, which I'm going to assume that there is, because usually there's some truth to these things. The fourth rock carving, its location will probably determine whether he was a teamster or whether he was a passenger or working for the stage line. If the rock carving is somewhere in the Mojave Desert between San Francisco and the Black Canyon, then I would say that that would indicate that he was a passenger and or working for the stagecoach. But if the rock carving of A. Tillman is in the coastal range over by China Lake, then that would indicate that he was from the silver mines, being a teamster. So if you know where that fourth rock carving is, I'd appreciate it if you don't leave it in the comment section. What I want you to do is get a hold of me somehow, and I will see if I can track it down and add to this video. I want to thank you for coming along on this adventure as we tried to find the A. Tillman engravings. It's fun, interesting, and always a challenge. When you get a chance, hit that subscribe button if you like this sort of thing and you want to continue on these journeys with me, exploring and discovering new places and things and people. Also hit that like button and share this video with those who have a common love of exploring. And if you can, leave a comment. All right, God bless.